Hey YouTube, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down 2 practice exam questions to help get you ready to really tackle those exams, and let's jump into it. Okay, so the first practice question we're going to break down, how long should you keep clients' records after terminating services? A, refer to state guidelines. B, a minimum of 5 years. C, a minimum of 10 years. Or D, record should always be maintained. Take a second, pause the video, select your best answer, and then unpause it, and then we'll dive into the discussion. Okay. If you picked A, you are correct. How long should you keep clients' records after terminating services? The answer is A, refer to state guidelines. Why? According to the NASW Code of Ethics 3.04 client records, social workers should store records following the termination of services to ensure reasonable future access. Records should be maintained for the number of years required by relevant laws, agency policies, and contracts. So because of this is the RayTube tip for you guys. Whenever the answer can vary depending on the location, which is the state, you want to go with the answer that refers to that, such as refer to state guidelines, refer to state jurisdiction, however it kind of words it, but still heading into that direction of saying pretty much check with that state, that location's regulations, etc. Because if the answer can vary, the exam's not going to say in North Carolina, in New Jersey, in California, right? They're not going to have us memorize all the state guidelines for these type of questions, because it would just honestly won't make any sense, especially if we're, let's say, in Chicago. We don't necessarily need to know about California's state regulations unless we plan to move there and practice there. And if we do, then we'll go about learning what are the regulations, what's different from what we are used to. But the exam's not going to do that. That's why when these type of questions come up, they want us to refer to state guidelines, the laws, etc. So again, B, a minimum of 5 years. That's not the answer. Why? The answer depends on the state you're located in. Same thing for C, a minimum of 10 years. Again, it depends on which state you're located in. And for D, records should always be maintained. Nope. Why? The answer depends on what state you're located in. And I also put here, I haven't encountered a situation where the social worker is required to maintain a client's records for a lifetime. I honestly haven't seen it. Not saying that it can't change or anything like that, but even still refer to state guidelines, because unless it just becomes like a worldwide change within a profession, and again, we'll know about it. It varies from state to state, location. And again, when we scroll up here, records should be maintained for the number of years required by relevant laws, agency policies, and contracts. So because of those factors all come into play, we have to refer to all of those elements that are in play. So on the exams, when we're taking them, we want to refer to state guidelines, refer to the laws, the rules of the land, the laws of the land type of thing. Now let's jump into question number 2. A school social worker has been meeting with a 14-year-old girl who has experienced a decline in her grades within the semester of school. During the 3rd session, the girl reported that she has been having difficulties concentrating in school due to an intimate relationship with another female classmate. She also reported that she hasn't told her parents she is gay and is afraid to do so. The next day, the teen's parents have requested a copy of her records. The social worker had made note in the record of the girl's relationship with her classmate. What should the social worker do first? A, deny the parents' request, as the client does not want her parents to know that she is gay. B, provide the parents with the client's record immediately. C, gather more information on why the parents is requesting the records. Or D, adhere to state regulations. Take a second, pause the video, select your best answer, and then we'll jump into the explanation. Okay, If you picked A, deny the parent's request as the client does not want her parents to know that she is gay, that is not the correct answer. Why? We are not, or excuse me, we cannot do that if we are providing services in a state that allows the parents to have access to their child's records. We just can't, right? And that's the same with B, provide the parents with the client's records immediately. We cannot do that if we're providing services in a state that allows the client to maintain confidentiality, because this is one of those situations where, depending on what state you're in, a teenage client, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 60-year-old, they can have that right to deny their parents access to their confidential records, like the things being discussed within therapy. And again, if it's safety related, as far as imminent danger to themselves or someone else, we would kick in as social workers, as professionals, and have to report to the proper authorities on that matter. So again, unless it's safety and they're a danger to themselves, imminent danger to themselves, someone else, that's different. In this scenario, that's not the case. So depending on the location that you're in, it can vary. Going with C, gather more information on why the parent is requesting the records. That is not the correct answer. Why? This does not change the fact that the records are still being requested. So imagine this, right? So imagine that, we get this request, the parents saying, hey, we want their records. And we're saying, why do you want them? The parents literally could just say, because we do. And that doesn't help the situation, right? They can want the records simply just to say, oh, we just want to see how our daughter's doing. We just want to update. We just want to hear from the professional how she's doing. That's the answer. The answer could also be, again, they could say, because I said so, right? But again, how we move in this scenario depends on what state we're in and the rules associated with that. In D, adhere to state regulations. That is the correct answer. Why? Again, the answer can vary depending on what state you are providing services in. Because of this, you want to go with the answer that speaks to that. And I also broke this down for you guys. Wait a second, Ray. What if the question stated something along the lines of, although the client is hesitant about letting her parents know about being gay, the social worker knows that they must provide the records due to state regulation. What happens then? So pretty much saying, same question, but how about within the question? Because when we're taking these practice exam questions and stuff, sometimes the question gives you information already within the question itself. So how about if it said that, Ray, that the social worker knows that they're in a state that requires them to report this information? We would want to pick the answer if available, because remember, A, B, C, and D. We got to work with what we got, right? If available, that informs, or I'll read again. We would want to pick the answer if available that informs the client that due to state law, regulation, jurisdiction, etc., we must adhere to their request. During that session, we would also be able to process the client's emotions about the situation as well to support them in this process. So again, if that was in there and the question is worded a bit differently, then we will want to go with the answer of just essentially letting the clients know, like, hey, due to state regulation, etc., we're required, we have to do this, and we can process that with the client and, just really help them in that regard as being that support system for them. But because the question did not include that, we don't know. And we can't just assume like, oh, I'm taking the exam in New Jersey, so according to New Jersey state guidelines, yeah, we have to hand them over and everything like that. This is saying in this scenario, we don't know where we're at. So that's why the exam is saying we want to refer to state guidelines, the jurisdiction, like the laws of the land per se, and then go about it that way. I also included a link, and I'm gonna put it in the description to this article I found in Wisconsin, where that's one thing where the NASW Code of Ethics, it doesn't fully break down confidentiality when it comes to adults versus minors. And when you search it, you find that per the state, they have their own set of rules and how they kind of proceed with this. So I'm gonna attach a link in the description of this article in Wisconsin and how they kind of handle things and everything, because again, it can vary state to state. Whereas let's say if a client reports being pregnant, right? If a client reports being pregnant, in some states, you know, it is required that that the social worker, the professional, report that to the parents. So again, when we get these type of questions, we want to refer where the answer can vary depending on the location, such as the two we went over in this video. We want to refer to state guidelines, state jurisdiction, laws, etc. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to the people that attended this weekend's RayTube study session number 2. We had a great turnout, a lot of valuable information given about, you know, really how to approach the exam and how to really just be in the right mind frame to take the exam. And like I always say at these videos, you guys got this. Stay consistent with your studying, continue to do practice exam questions, learn the rationale so that we get in the right mind frame for the exams, and we got this. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next video. Bye.